Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bree. I'm the owner and artist of Upcycled by Bree, and I am so glad that you are here. We're doing a little bit of everything today: painting, stenciling, texture. I need to load up my website, so I'm doing some batch work, and I wanted to bring y'all along and show you what I'm working on. If you're new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and there's a notification bell next to it. If you click that to all, YouTube will let you know every time I upload a new video. We're starting off first with these floral pots. These came from an estate clean out, so I got these for free. I cut out the old outdated floral, and I wanted to give them an update with some fun DIY paint colors. DIY paint is clay-based, it's super thick and highly pigmented, so it's going to cover these pots and give them a very high-end look. Now, to the color Apothecary, I have added the DIY paint frosting. It is a thickening agent. You only need about 1 drop, literally, for that small amount of paint I had in the container. Let it sit for 12 hours for best results. In the other 3 colors, I'm adding in some good old baking soda because I didn't have time to let it sit for 12 hours. I'm doing a 50-50 ratio of the paint to the baking soda. I wanted to upcycle these because they were heavy and good thick plastic, and I thought they were full of foam, but it wasn't. It was just cardboard. So I went ahead and pulled that out, and I will add my own foam. Kind of a bummer, but that's okay. I cleaned them up with some Dawn dish soap on a wet rag, and let's get to painting. You see how nice and thick this Apothecary is? The color is Apothecary, and this is the one with the paint frosting inside. I'm doing a crosshatch pattern to try to get as much texture as I can, and that is going to give me a really good final look when I add the wax. I will be sure to link all of these colors down below for you, as well as all of the other products I'm using today. I am using my Klingon brushes. These are a synthetic bristle brush, and they are super easy to clean, so you just stick them in water overnight and the paint practically falls out the next day. This color I'm using currently is DIY Skeleton Key. It's a beautiful gray blue color, and this one has the baking soda added. This is 1 coat of the paint on all of the pots, and there's just a couple little spots where that terracotta color is coming through, so I'm doing what's called now a half coat. I do 1 good full coat and then touch up spots. This is a bird from one of my recent garage sale haul videos I did on a Facebook Live. If you're not following me on Facebook, be sure to. I'm going live over there a lot more often. I went ahead and took these outside, and I'm doing a coat of Rust-Oleum matte clear enamel. I have that linked down in my Amazon shop below for you. It's a super easy clear coat. It dries really quick. And here's a look. On the left is the DIY paint frosting on the green color. On the right is the baking soda. So you see you get a pretty similar final result. It just depends on what you're wanting to use it for. To highlight all of the beautiful texture on these pots, I'm going in now with my DIY white wax. I sealed them first with the Rust-Oleum matte clear enamel, so that gave a bit of a barrier, making it easier to work with. I am still going in with a very dry chip brush though, and doing more of a dry brushing of the wax over these pots. And here is our bird friend all painted. Again, I did about 1.5 coats of paint. He got a clear coat of Rust-Oleum matte clear enamel, and now I'm going in with some wax. I headed over to my floral stash and grabbed out a variety of florals. These round styrofoam pieces are from the Dollar Tree. I cut them down just a little to fit, and then I'm using my Avid glue gun to glue them into place. I want to make sure that these arrangements are super quality and super high end. a little Spanish moss on the top, and then I use my little Cricut metal paddle to push and tuck the moss down into place to make sure none of the foam will show. Here is a little lamb's ear and then a rose and peony pick. You can see that foam is dense and I really have to work it down in. Once it's in, it's not going anywhere. Let's take a look at all of the final floral pots. All right, y'all, how beautiful and high-end did these flower pots turn out? Drop me a comment below. Have you tried DIY paint yet? And which color of the 4 colors that I used on these pots is your favorite? Also, did y'all notice that I used pink? Petticoat pink. I kind of love it. Y'all know I don't use a lot of pink, but I ended up with a bunch out of a little mistake in an order and decided to keep it and roll with it. So petticoat pink it is. That leads me into our next project, and that is going to be some signs. I am using DIY Dark and Decrepit on these wood plaques that came from my most recent garage sale haul. Before I close it up, I'm rubbing a little Vaseline on the edge to keep it from sticking shut. I almost spilled it, mini heart attack. The Dark and Decrepit is a multi-use product. You can use it as a stain, as a decoupage medium, transfer gel, a glaze. Today I'm using it to stain these wood plaques. There's no VOCs, so I can do it right here inside, and I just used 1 coat. It stained it up nicely. Now to grab my JRV Scientific Butterfly decoupage paper. This is very popular. I restocked on it. You can see those sheets are large, 30 by 18 inches. I'm using DIY liquid patina as my decoupage medium. It is clear and it will dry quickly, but not too fast that I don't have time to get this paper exactly where I want it. I cut the paper down, but not exactly to size. I put the paper over the layer of liquid patina, rolled it down with the brayer, and now I'm putting another coat of the liquid patina on top. Once it is fully dry, you can see I have a bit of excess on the edge, so I'm going to take some 220 grit sandpaper and sand along that sharp edge of the wood. Once I have the whole edge sanded, I gently lift the paper and it gives me a very clean, crisp edge. The entire surface of the paper, a light sanding with that 220 grit. I just went over it one time to give it a bit of distressing. You can skip this step if you want, but I like that distressed image. On the back, I'm using these nailless picture hangers. I have them linked in my Amazon shop. They make hanging a breeze. And here's a look at the final project. I love the cottage feel that this paper gives. And these plaques actually sold while I was editing this video, but keep an eye out and I will make some more. On the 2 plaques that did not match in size, I went ahead and used my Apothecary that was thickened up with the paint frosting and painted the front. And now I'm going to do some stenciling. So I have got my JRV 1/2-inch stencil brush, and this is the American Agricole stencil. I almost said stamp. And I'm using DIY weathered wood for the paint color. Now, the key to the stenciling here, as you see, I'm getting a little paint on my brush and then I'm offloading most of that paint onto a paper towel. That is going to give me a much more clean, crisp image if I'm using a dry brush. I kind of go back and forth between stippling and swirling depending on which stencil I'm using. This is the old Whitmore cotton stencil, another one of my favorites, and you can see these stencils are huge, so I'm just using small bits and parts. You can mix and match them to give them a unique look. The possibilities with stencils are endless. Do not be limited by one stencil, mix and match. Once I have them all stenciled up, I'm just taking that 220 grit sandpaper and giving a light sanding over the entire piece. Then using my DIY clear wax, I give it a nice thin coat. And now I'm going in with just a little bit of the DIY dark wax. The dark wax is a brown color, and there's also a black wax. You can see that gives it a much more aged patina. And again, that wax sits down in all the texture of that paint frosting Apothecary paint. Doing a coat of clear wax before I do the dark wax, it gives me much more control over the dark wax. Otherwise, it could have ended up looking just dingy and dirty. Now to hang these industrial signs, I'm just stapling on some old wire I had in the garage, and then to protect the wall, I'm adding on a couple of these little felt dots, and those are just from the Dollar Tree. I like to add them to the back of my signs that might have sharp metal. And here's a look at the final product, from raw wood sign to chippy old industrial sign. And here's a peek at a couple of the other signs I made using pieces of old dovetailed drawers. For the next project, I am using some coffee cans I got for free from the garage sale haul. Huge box of old coffee cans. Some of them were cool, some of them were plain, so I decided to paint a few using that DIY Apothecary paint with the paint frosting mixed in. It gave them some nice texture, and now I'm using DIY petal pusher and vintage linen. I watered the two colors down just a bit in these little cups, and now I'm doing a paint pour down the sides to replicate an old French paint can. Now I wanted to let you guys know these little Dixie cups and paper plates that you see me use, I'm getting those for free from hauls that I'm doing, like clean outs. So don't think I'm buying them and wasting them. I'm reusing them, but don't want to use them in my bathroom or my kitchen necessarily. Now I drilled a hole in each side of these cans, hammered them down to make sure they weren't sharp, and then used just some old wire from the garage to make some old handles. Clear wax on the outside of these and a little bit of Sweet Pickins grit. This is a powdery finish you can use to age your pieces, a lot like the Decrepit dust, but it is a gray color. I thought that nice cool tone would go great with these cans. And I'm obsessed. I'm going to be making a lot more of these with some different color combinations. I think they look authentic and old and like they belong in this little vignette of a French flower shop decor. What do y'all think? Leave me a comment down below at the end of this video and let me know which of today's projects was your favorite. Last up, I did a few decor boards. I know I've made a lot of videos on these, but I just wanted to give y'all a peek. I hope y'all enjoyed today's video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and be sure to share this video out with a friend. That's going to help this channel grow and help me bring you even more amazing content. Be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to all. And until next time, I will see y'all later. Bye, friends.